Our all-volunteer team plans, produces, edits, and cablecasts a variety of programs to keep you well-informed and make our community a better place to live, work, and play. Mad River TV 13 cablecasts every Thursday night at 7 o'clock. In the near future, we will be cablecasting every day as soon as we get on a timer system.
Good evening, this is David Hoover, and I'd like to welcome you to Mad River TV, Channel 13. Tonight we're going to be talking with our guest Chris Lovely about making music with computers. I'd like to welcome Chris to our show.
Thanks.
Nice to have you here. Chris is a local musician who also does rents his own recording studio in Barkhamsted, a service that helps other musicians with their music or other performers who say are singers, gives them background. Chris does, in what we feel this is a unique way, he uses computers to do this to create other sounds. Chris, can you tell us kind of an overview of what you do?
Okay.
Not too technical, we're all kind of musical idiots here, electronic idiots.
All right, basically what I do is I provide music for people who otherwise couldn't put a band together. Let's say they had some original music and they wanted to make a tape of this, and it wasn't feasible or they can't afford to get together 4 or 5 piece band.
Other musicians.
Right, to hear what their music is really going to sound like with a band. So what I do is using the electronics I have, I create the background for them, and whatever they want, I can have drums, bass, strings. If they want to sound like a rock band, I can give them that. If they want to sound like orchestra, whatever they need, I try to give them that, and it sounds very convincing.
And it all goes through a computer that actually creates the sound?
Well, the computer doesn't actually create the sound. It's more of the controller for the whole system.
Okay. So now how do you approach this? Does someone come to you and say they have like a song and they just have themselves singing?
Yeah, I've had people come say, here's my song. They sing it a cappella, help, I need chords, I need background, I need direction,
So then you sit down and say, I assume you work with a keyboard? Maybe?
Right, yeah, mainly keyboard.
And then you just play, you listen to them sing and you play behind them?
Right, I'll figure out a basic accompaniment that will work. And then with the whole system, I'll try different styles or different instruments. I can put in electric bass or acoustic bass, see which one works better.
But you have to record this, say, a whole bunch of different times. You have to play different, you have to listen to it and play it, excuse me, and then listen to it again, say, with the strings behind it and play it again.
Right, it's a process where you do one part at a time. I guess as a background to help you understand it, I should explain there's a standard interface for all electronic instruments, which is called MIDI, and that stands for Musical Instrument Digital Interface.
So that's like for an electric guitar or a keyboard or the
keyboards
drums.
or computers, any kind of electronic-based instrument.
Okay.
And it's a way where they can communicate to each other. Say, I could take one keyboard, connect it to another keyboard. I could use the first one, I could just play a note on that, and it would make the other one sound, because it's sending some information
to the other. Okay.
Right. It's sending note on, right? It starts, I lift the key up, it sends, note stops.
Okay.
Now,
does this all show up for you? Do you see like a visual printout of?
Yeah, with the computer, when it records, the information. It actually will show you visually what you've got.
So it'll show you your notes then. So-
Right, it can show you the notes, the duration, you know, how hard you play it, how soft.
Okay, and this all goes through like a keyboard, or I think you said you have a wind instrument that does the
Yeah,
same.
I also have a electronic wind instrument which I can play. I can play drums from it. I can play
Okay.
bass. It's just
So say if someone were more comfortable with, say you play sax.
right,
If someone was more comfortable playing sax than playing keyboard, they could use this wind instrument that would
right,
basically do the same thing as somebody who plays a keyboard,
exactly.
right?
Right.
Now what happens when you have all this together? Can you change it?
Yeah, you can edit it pretty much the way a word processor does.
Oh, just with musical.
Yeah, you can move sections around. Let's say I had an 8-bar section and it wasn't long enough. I wanted to repeat that same section.
Mhm.
Well, I would just copy that, then insert it wherever I wanted to lengthen it. Or if I wanted to, let's say I had a flute part, I wanted to double that with a violin. Instead of recording that violin part again, I would just take the flute, copy that, and assign it to
a violin and then put them together.
Right.
Oh, that's neat. Well, this all sounds pretty technical to me. I don't know. I don't really understand it. But how did you get involved in doing all this?
Well, I'm primarily a saxophone player, and I was performing with different bands in clubs, casinos, traveling around. And I started playing keyboards as a way to augment the sound of the band, and also to make myself more marketable.
Mm-hmm.
And,
So it's good to know more than one.
Right. The more you can do, the better. And so I started learning about the keyboards, technology, reading about it. And also had a lot of original music, which I wanted to record. And I needed a way to do it myself
Without paying for
spending
it,
a fortune, because it's very expensive. And this was a way that enabled me to put on tape my ideas with what I was actually hearing. I didn't have to compromise as far as sound.
Right.
I could really create those sounds that I was hearing. You know.
Do you ever play publicly? Like, can you play something like that publicly?
Yeah, I'm working with one other guy. We have a duo, and we're not doing original music, but we're doing top 40 and rock and roll.
Mhm.
And we use the computers and sampling keyboards to play the drums and the bass and any other extra instruments that we can't play. He plays guitar, and I do the sax and keyboards.
Okay, so you do both of them at the same time?
Right.
Yeah.
We do what we can live, and anything we can't do, we record into the computer.
And then that plays it back while you're playing?
Right, so we play along with it.
And that follows your tempo and everything? Or?
Well, no, we have to follow
Oh,
it.
you have to follow the tape. Okay.
Yes, we have to follow the computer. But, you know, that way we can sound like a whole band.
Okay. And you do this commercially for
Yeah,
other people?
yeah.
You did our ballooning show. That was quite nice.
Yeah, some original music I'd given to Jim earlier.
That's great. Now, what kind of people do most bands use this, or? I mean, what we hear like on MTV or something like that.
Okay, it's used in TV commercials and film scores very extensively because the composer can work by himself, usually in his home, and he can come up with a finished product.
It's kind of like desktop publishing musically. Right?
Exactly, yeah.
That's
You
a
have to
neat
speed
thing.
things up, and it makes it a lot cheaper.
Can you do that with voices, or say you could hook up your television set to it?
Yeah,
Would-
right, yeah.
Would create the sounds
You can
behind
make
it.
anything that... It works kind of like a CD player. A CD player is a digital sampler. What it does, it records music as a series of digital numbers.
Mm-hmm.
And it's taking a snapshot, like it's taking 44,000 pictures a second of what that sound looks like, storing it as a bunch of numbers.
Sounds good to me. You have a lot of equipment with us. Can you show us what it is and how
Sure.
it works and what it can do?
Yeah.
I'm sure everybody would like to see that.
Right.
Through the magic of television, we're back. We know how long it took to set all of this up. But Chris, can you tell us what this is, and then show us how you use it?
Okay, it's basically a MIDI system where I've recorded a song into the computer here, and it's playing the instruments which are produced by these keyboards. This is a electronic wind instrument, which is another kind of an electronic sax in a way, and I'm going to play the melody on that.
So then this is how you you would build a song to put things together?
Right.
Show us how you do that as well.
Well, this is sort of the finished product, and I'll play the song, and then we'll go back and show how it's put together.
Great, I'll leave you to it then.
Okay, thanks.
So that was obviously the theme song from Hill Street Blues.
Right.
Now we heard it, but how do you make it work to put it together?
Okay. Now, basically, what we're doing is layering parts. So, typically, you'll start with the most basic fundamental parts. So what I've done is I've just put on a hi-hat to keep time for me
Okay.
to start with. And then I'm going to put on the piano first. So over here, I'm pressing record pretty much on the computer. And then I'm going to record the piano part. Okay. All right, so now it will play back what I played.
So you can catch your mistake. Huh?
Right, and then I can edit my mistakes. Okay, well that whole bar is full of mistakes. mistakes, so I'm going to start right from that bar. And I'm going to fix that up. Okay. That's great. I made some very good mistakes. Okay, now you can hear on that bar I made a real clam of a mistake. What I did was I played the wrong bass note. So here we can visually see the notes as they're played. It shows us the pitch and the length visually. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to find that bass note. There it is, right there. And I'm just going to delete that note out of there. Now let's see if I got the right note. Right, so I got the right note. I got rid of it. Now I want to add in the correct note. So I'm not even going to play it, I'm just going to enter it the way you would enter anything on a computer. I'm just going to enter it. There it is. Now, right now it's real short, so I'm going to make it longer. Yeah, let's make it about 3, let's make it 4 beats. Okay, let's see how that sounds. Okay, so now I have my piano part pretty much how I want it. Now I'm going to layer the next part on top of that. I'll put the bass part on it. So here we go, let's record the bass. Okay, so now we got the bass. Now I'm going to add a little bit of kick drum.
Now this is all being recorded onto a computer now, right?
Yeah, the computer is recording it as a series of numbers, really. Okay. Yeah, the computer is recording it.
Now you could add a violin to that if you wanted to, right?
Sure, I could add anything. You know, so I could add my strings up here. So you can keep adding parts and adding and adding and adding.
That's wild.
So it's really, as you can see, now I have that. Now let's say, for example, I want it to repeat. I want to repeat that whole section of music I just played. Okay. Instead of redoing it, I can use the computer to save me time. I can just copy that. What I can do is copy that section of music and insert it somewhere else. So now it's twice as long. When it gets to the end, now it's repeating itself. So, with the editing, you can move things around very easily. You can look at one note at a time if you want to get that precise. And you can really just add a part after part, and it will reproduce it.
So this is useful for all kinds of video and film. And
right, yep. It's used a lot for TV commercials and film work, because the composer who's creating the music can do it all himself in his home. He has the sounds, the strings, the bass, the whatever sounds he needs, so it's more time efficient and cost effective. And
it's kind of like instant Mozart then.
Yeah.
You can actually hear it when you play it.
Yeah, it'd be incredible if Mozart or Beethoven had a system like this. It would have been really interesting.
I can only imagine.
Yep.
So what else can this thing do here?
Okay, well this is a digital sampler, what we just talked briefly about, where, like a CD player, it's storing music or sound digitally as a series of numbers.
On this?
Yes, and the sounds are stored on a little computer disk. And so anything you put into this, you can get out. You could record the London Philharmonic playing one big unison note, and then play it back and be able to play the whole keyboard with that sound. And I'd like to do a little demonstration here that will show exactly what sampling is. Let me get rid of some of these sounds. So what I'd like to do is sample your voice. Testing 1, 2, 3. Hey, okay.
Well, that means I have to come up with a famous line, huh?
That's right, it's on you.
Okay, we'll go for a first line then.
Okay, and just get right close to the mic and tell me before you start.
Let's see. We'll go for Marcel Proust then, sure.
Okay, go ahead.
For a long time, I used to go to bed early.
Okay, that sounds good. Okay, let's normalize the gain here. Put in a proper operating system. Now what I'm doing is it recorded your voice, but it was at a low level, so I'm going to boost it up. I'm going to make it a little louder. It takes a second for it to process.
For a long time, I used to go to bed early.
So that's basically...
For a long time, I used to go to bed.
For a long time I used to go to bed early.
As you see, as you move it up, it will speed up the sample. As you move it down,
For a long time, I used to go to bed early.
it will slow it down. So, in the same way as that was sampled, any acoustic sound can be
You
sampled.
could either speed it up or slow it down, or...
Right.
Okay.
Or I could edit it if I wanted to play
For a
around
long
with
time, I
that.
used to go to bed early.
Let's say I only wanted it to say bed early.
I used to go to bed early, to go to bed early.
You know, I
Okay.
can move it around and edit it and change things once it's in there, which is really nice.
That's fun.
Yeah. So, you know,
Could
it's-
leave good answering machine messages like that.
yeah, very
I bet.
interesting.
Keep it in mind.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I have one other song I'd like to do, which uses a lot of acoustic samples. I use a clarinet and an oboe and a violin. And I also have a little surprise sample at the end
Okay.
that I took off of somewhere. So let me get ready for that, and then we'll go ahead and do that.
Okay. Fine. Well, here we are again. Are you all set for this?
I'm all ready.
We're looking forward to hearing it.
Okay.
That was great.
Thanks.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks
This
a lot.
is Chris Lovely. It's great to have you here with us. We hope to see you again soon. And we're going to show your number at the end of the program. Anyone who's interested can contact him at the studio in Barkhamsted. And thanks again. That was great.
Thanks a lot, Dave.